kind of a pizza nerd, but when we went inside after he shot it and we were talking, he had a lot more knowledge than I would have expected, or he could tell some things that were going on with the pizza that made him like it that I wouldn't have thought.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Smart Pizza Marketing Podcast. Excited for my guest today. His name is Adam Eltzer, and he is the founder and CEO of Sauce Pizzeria. And we're going to talk a little pizza, a little business, a little everything that comes to the culinary world. Adam, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your story with us.
Thanks for inviting me on the show, Bruce. I really appreciate it.
I love hearing the story of how people got started in the restaurant space, because it's always like a unique story of, they started maybe as a dishwasher or a busboy or a driver, or how did you get started in the business?
I started as a busboy when I was 12 years old.
That's a lot of people start like that.
At the beginning. And then I kept going. By the time I was 17, I was serving tables, and I was also a pizza delivery boy. So I was delivering pizzas and learning how to make pizza back then when I just kind of got started. Really?
What did you go to college, or did you just love the business, or what made you want to stick with it?
I went to college. I went to University of Maryland, and while I was in college, my first year I was serving tables there as well, and then in my sophomore year I started a marketing company.
Really?
So, yep. The marketing company was focused on all sorts of stuff. A lot of events was the real drive, and from college I moved into New York City and moved the marketing company with me from down in DC up into New York.
Oh, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from New Jersey.
Okay. So now, when you went to college, what did you go to college for? Like, what was your major?
I went for communications, and mostly just because I thought it was kind of a easier.
Right. So you went to college, you kind of like, I'm going to go try to get something else. Did your parents make you go to college, or is it something that you just thought was the next step, or did you really want to go?
I thought it was just the next step. I was really interested. When I was young, my major interest was, I would say, I wanted to own a restaurant.
Really?
Was thinking about, but I figured college was a good next step. And the marketing thing brought me into more of the bar world, where I was doing a lot of events and stuff in different bars, and I was learning a different side of hospitality through the marketing angle.
Okay. And how did you get started with Sauce? Like, when did that open? How did you get that idea or the concept?
In 2008, I had owned a couple of bars in my early 20s in New York City, and we started to do some food in those bars. But by 2008, I had sold all of that. And in 2010, I started a hospitality group with a couple other people that was Mexican restaurant focused.
Okay.
And when I did that, at the same time, a friend of mine was opening Sauce, and I was consulting with Sauce to help them through kind of the ops side of opening the restaurant. And from there, I ended up selling my first hospitality group. And at the same time, I bought into Sauce. And about 2 years later, I started a new group, and I ended up buying all the partners out of Sauce.
Oh.
That was kind of the beginning of Sauce. We opened another restaurant called Coco and Crew. And I had this fascination with pizza all the way through. So I decided to put a pizza oven into Sauce. And without selling pizza, I was cooking pizza basically after we closed down the restaurant at night and figuring out different recipes.
So where did you go to learn the recipes? Was it just kind of reading and watching videos and then kind of implementing in your restaurant and testing it out?
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of different dough recipes that I was toying around with, and I would invite other pizza chefs down to the restaurant to cook with me. So some of these guys I would pay to come in and to teach me some things that they knew. Other guys were friends of mine, and they'd come and cook. So each time, it was like every day I was kind of tweaking the dough recipe and then testing to see if I liked the result, and inviting different people down to show me different techniques that they were using with pizza.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you've owned a couple different hospitality groups, a few different restaurants. So were you always kind of entrepreneurial? Is that something that you like when you were younger? Were you like selling lemonade and all kinds of things door to door?
I don't know when I was that young. I mean, for me, entrepreneurial was at 12 going and getting a job. For me, I really wanted to learn how to make money.
Yeah.
And I thought that the restaurant space was really interesting. And then when I got that job, I just kind of became obsessed with how restaurants function, and being there at night. I liked the energy, I liked the people, I liked all the people that I met while I was working there. So I guess I was entrepreneurial, but it was definitely focused around this idea of hospitality.
Yeah. It's a tough business. What's changed for you? What do you think's changed for you since you opened, or since you've been in this for as long as you have? Like, what's changed the most?
Well, in New York, a lot of the rules keep changing, so it's getting more and more expensive to operate a restaurant in New York City. And I don't know if I would focus in on anything else that's necessarily changed. It's never been an easy business to do.
Yeah.
It's challenging and it's hard to find the right people, but it's definitely very rewarding. If you love food and you love what you do, then it doesn't really feel like work. It's like I get to
Yeah.
go in and do my favorite thing every day, which is not bad.
Which I guess a lot of people are searching for. I guess New York's such a competitive market too. Like, it must be hard to stand out there, because this is probably a ton of restaurants and a ton of places people can go.
Yeah.
And earlier in time, maybe before, everybody had a computer in their pocket or social media, people would have to get out and explore. But now people can explore with their phone and see where they want to go. So to stand out now, it's even harder, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to be doing something a little bit different, and you're kind of pushed where if you're not offering a product that stands out, it just probably won't work out. If you in the first year of owning a restaurant, you can kind of tell where you stand, if people like your idea or if they don't, or if they really enjoy your food. But if you're not doing something that stands out from the pack, then you're going to probably fall behind, and it would be hard to be in business here.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day and they said a quote. They said, sometimes different is better than better.
Yeah, I think that could be true.
Sometimes if you're better than someone else, if they're already doing it and they're first to the market, it may be harder for you. Even though you're better, it may be harder for you to pass them because they were first there. But if you're a little different, like you said, sometimes that's how you can stand out and get noticed. It's all about getting noticed, I believe, nowadays. Like, yes, you have to have a good product and good service, but you could have both of those things. But if nobody knows you exist, then that can be a little tricky to get out there.
Well, I've had the philosophy. I think it's important to stand out and to get noticed, but I do believe people recognize quality. So
Yeah.
it's great if you get noticed, but a major issue. I had a restaurant a long time ago that got noticed really quickly and got an enormous amount of press, but we weren't really ready for it. So I felt like we were disappointing the customers because they were reading this incredible stuff and then coming in and their expectation was a little bit let down, I felt, by the experience. So I
Like,
think
you weren't ready for it, like staffing wise, or just it just got way busier than you thought it was going to be.
that it got way busier than we thought it was going to be. And it was like the night before we opened, we got a big article in New York Times about what we were doing. And it was like an enormous piece of press that drove tons of people down to the restaurant. But we hadn't really finalized the concept. We hadn't had enough time to play with the menu. We didn't have the venue in perfect shape. We had issues with the air conditioner. We had issues with staffing, and being that packed and having reservations for months on end, and not really being ready for it, it didn't give us the time we needed to figure everything out.
Yeah, that's tough, right? Because you only get one time to make a first impression, I guess.
Yeah, I think if people come in and have a bad experience, no matter how much hype you got, they're not going to come back. And eventually that hype is going to wear off, and you're going to be left with the people that that loved it. If people come in and they have a great experience and they say, "Look, I want to give this another shot," or "This is my new spot," that's a big thing. Those regular customers are what we're going after. People saying, like, "I can count on this place, and it's exactly what I expected and wanted each time I come in."
Right. What style of pizza do you serve at Sauce, for anybody listening at home? Can you explain the concept?
It's New York style pizza. So it's a thin crust pie. Originally, when I sought out after it, I think that Joe's Pizza was one of my favorite slices in New York.
Yeah.
I wanted to take that idea of doing a slice shop and just change up a bunch of the ingredients that I was using compared to what they use, but still, take that style of this New York style pizza and go for that.
And is it a sit down place? Do we have wait staff, or is it more just grab and go?
No, this is just a counter. We have 20 seats, and it's slice focused. So the whole idea is you can walk in and for less than $10, have lunch or have dinner and hopefully experience some really great pizza.
And why New York? So you're from New Jersey and you went to school in DC. Why New York City did you open your spot? Why not maybe somewhere else that's a little less competitive?
Well, I grew up in New Jersey. My whole family is from New York. So my great grandparents came to Brooklyn, and then my grandparents and my parents were in Staten Island. And when I was a little kid, we moved out to New Jersey. But when it came to pizza, I was constantly being shown New York style pizza, and there was a major difference of what was happening in New Jersey where I grew up, versus 30 miles away in the city with some of these pizza places that I got to eat at when I was a kid.
Yeah, New York's really competitive though, isn't it? Isn't it like one of the most competitive markets? I think they said like out of the top 100 pizzerias in the country, 25 or 30 of them are in New York City.
Yeah, there's a lot of great pizza here. I mean, on our block where Sauce Pizzeria is, there's 3 other pizzerias. So we're in the East Village, which you can't walk more than 40 feet without bumping into a different pizza place.
Right.
It's highly competitive. Some of them are really great. Motorino is right next door to us, two stores down, and that's fantastic pizza. So when I went on this mission, I knew that I was going to be going right into the heart of competition when it comes to great pizza, and that the expectation was going to be pretty high.
Yeah, that's tough, right? A lot of people wouldn't even go near that location if there's such good pizza places within such a short distance. Like, what made you say, I'm going to go there and I'm going to be able to make it?
Well, I like the space a lot. So I spent a lot of time shopping for the right location, and I wanted it to be in the East Village because I felt like the slice culture works really well there. There's a lot of people walking around, a lot of people live there, and there's a lot of sit-down pizzerias, in that area, and not a lot of really great slice shops. So when I saw this space, it was definitely a little daunting that we were next to Motorino, but I felt like I was going to do something totally different than what they were offering. And even though we both sell pizza, we sell very different pizza.
Yeah. They're more of a Neapolitan style pizza?
Yeah, Neapolitan, and more of like grab a bottle of wine, order a pizza, sit down, have a meal. For us was, you walk in, grab a slice, 4 minutes later, you can be done.
Right.
In the street.
You can take it and go with you, or you can sit down and eat it real quick.
Yeah.
Now, is just cheese the most popular item on your menu?
The upside down cheese probably sells about the same as the regular cheese pie. But right now we have 6 pies on the menu. Last night I was working on a new pie that will probably launch in 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty small menu. So the idea is that we have a couple of pies that are classic New York City pies, and then we're kind of constantly working for a seasonal special that will launch every few months.
And you change the seasonal special up every year, or is it the popular ones come back?
I'm trying to do a different one every season. So, every 3 months come out with a new pie, and then not just, fall of next year, launch the same pie. Try to have a couple of new ideas, work on those ideas. I think it keeps the other chefs that are working with me really interested, and we're having fun, and we get to test ingredients and go to the market and kind of look for, anybody can come up with a cool idea, and then we'll start breaking it down and cooking it and see if we can turn it into an awesome pizza.
Now, do you sell anything else on your menu, or is it just pizza?
Just pizza.
Now, I think that's moving forward with this help crisis that everybody seems to have, or the price or the cost of doing business. Do you think less is more? Do you think that helps you running a business, is that you only sell pizza and you only have a few different varieties to choose from, so you don't need 15, 20 people working on a single shift?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think being focused is really important. So, the pizza shop is all about pizza, and everybody who works there is thinking about pizza and talking about pizza. Yeah. If you don't like pizza, it's not going to be the right place to work. So I like that focus. I think I'm lucky to be able to do that. We got a couple of big reviews when we opened, which I actually drastically shrunk the menu as we got busier, because it felt to me like the right thing to do. And we're fortunate where we didn't have to have an extensive menu to kind of lure people in for other things. It seems like people like the pizza and they're coming there for pizza. So, I like that that's all we're going to sell.
Right. You said you got a big reviews when you first opened. Who reviewed you?
The Barstool guys, Dave.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, yeah,
What do you? So there was a. Did you see the? I don't know if you saw this, but a couple other guys that I had on the show from Goodfellas Pizza. I think they're in Kentucky.
right. I
One of
saw
their
it.
managers had like a really bad experience. Like he totally botched the way that he handled Dave on his
Yeah,
a
yeah, that's
review.
kind of a huge disaster, I
Oh
heard.
my god, it was so big. It turned into. It actually ended up being okay with them because I think they handled it pretty well in the aftermath, like what they did afterwards, and they had a lot of loyal customers that were supporting them. But what did you think about? Did you know he was coming, and did you just were you nervous about that, or what were your thoughts when he was there?
Well, I started following him maybe 2 years ago, and so I knew that he was out there doing the pizza reviews, and I had hoped that we were going to get a review.
Yeah,
But I had the staff all knows who he is. I have everybody following him on Instagram and watching what they're doing, and more just because he's a big voice in pizza. He posts a review every day, and people they they're into it, and because they kind of think there's some comedy behind it. And he's also showing different pizzerias. So we were definitely aware of who he was. I wasn't aware that he was coming. I moved into an apartment in the same building as the pizzeria so that I could be close and kind of be there all the time.
yeah.
So I was in my office in the apartment, and I had gotten a call when he walked in that he was there. And then I kind of came shooting over to see what was happening, and I caught him outside of the place right as he was doing the review.
Did he talk to you, or did you talk
Yeah,
to him?
he saw me kind of. It was raining outside, and I was the only guy kind of standing there in the rain watching. So he invited me on to the end of the review when he was reviewing, but it was pretty cool.
Did he? Do you remember what he gave you for a review?
We got a 9.1,
Which is
which
probably pretty good, right? For him, I think that he's known for like sevens and eights, right? So nine's pretty good.
yeah, 9.1 was like the best review he had given in like 2 years. I think the last time he gave a number that high was for best pizza in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
so that was the last time he so that
Frank's
was
place, Frank.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, so it was pretty cool. It was definitely a a big boost to business as well.
Were you nervous, like when he was right before he gave his review? Were you nervous about what he was going to say, or did he? Could you tell he kind of liked the slice?
I couldn't really tell, and he is pretty harsh, when it comes to reviewing people, and I'm also
He
pretty.
is.
So I kind of expected I was gonna get, like, when he called me over, like, great, like I'm gonna get, he's gonna bash it, and then I have to be on camera while he does this, like it's
Yeah.
great. But I was very excited when I heard after he bit into it and I watched the meeting. I was like, I think he does like it, so it was pretty cool.
Now, is he the same way off camera as he is on camera? Because I know I've seen him, and I've seen him talk to some people, and I'm like, wow, how can you like be comfortable saying that in public? Like sometimes you're right, he's a little bit harsh when he talks to someone, or he's like doesn't hold. I don't want to say hard. He doesn't hold anything back. If he doesn't like your pizza, he'll tell you right to your face he doesn't like your pizza, which is something
Yeah,
that I couldn't do. I'd have to fake it,
off camera, they him and Frankie were really nice, but I think they really liked the pizza.
which
And
helps.
watching his reviews, I didn't expect him to be kind of a pizza nerd, but when we went inside after he shot it and we were talking, he had a lot more knowledge than I would have expected, or he could tell some things that were going on with the pizza that made him like it that I wouldn't have thought he was picking up on.
Yeah, because I think people just think he just does it as a shtick.
Right. Yeah. Well, it appears that way. It looks like it's kind of just a shtick, and I don't know if anybody, I don't. I took it seriously because I think that a lot of people are watching him, and I think he's, a pretty public person when it comes to reviewing pizza.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't expect him to be also kind of a pizza nerd. And his camera guy, Frankie, his father owned a pizzeria in Long Island, I think.
Oh, okay.
He grew up, in a pizzeria with his dad, eating a ton of pizza and talking about pizza. So the two of them, it was fun to chat with them after.
Did it do anything for business after they came?
So they posted it on Instagram the next day. They posted at 6 p.m. At 6:15 p.m., there was a line of 50 people, and that line didn't stop for almost a week straight. I mean,
Really?
when we were unlocking the door until closing the door, we were completely slammed with people just in line waiting for pizza.
So he does have some influence to get people in the door.
Yeah, I mean, well, even if you watch that Kentucky thing, so I watch his reviews when they come out, or when I open Instagram, it's like if he did a review, it pops to the top of the feed.
Yeah.
Um, that Kentucky thing, he did that review, and then you look at the Google and the Yelp ratings, and they were just plummeting. They were at
Yeah.
like almost a 5-star in both those things, and then they're down to like 1 star within 2 hours of him doing that post. It's a pretty loyal fan base, and then all these people come and they also want to do their own review, so they go outside and pretend that they're him, do a review of your pizza. So it's pretty interesting how big of a crowd it draws.
It's just like you really have to nowadays, especially if you're in New York City. I think is he based in New York City?
Yeah, his office is in Flatiron, so a lot of the reviews that he does when he's in town are in New York.
And I know he's a Boston guy, and I'm in Boston, so he's from this area. So like if you're in those two cities, you should probably put a picture of him up in your back office somewhere and make sure your employees know who he is.
Yeah, you definitely. I mean, if you're making pizza right now, I think you want to have a picture of him up just in case he's, coming into your town, or because they do one every day. I think every single day for lunch he goes out for pizza and they shoot one of these reviews.
Yeah, I think I think I saw one of his reviews recently after that whole incident. He said he's done like 300 or 400 in a row.
Yeah, it's wild. So and that's kind of cool too. I mean, since I started making pizza, I've eaten pizza every single day. I mean, for the last 3 or 4 years, it's like it's a routine part of my day, and he's doing the same thing. He's eating pizza every single day.
Yeah, I love it. I own 2 pizzerias with a partner of mine, my brother-in-law. And since I've been doing this podcast, I just do this now for the last 3 years. But the variety of pizza that I get a chance to eat talking to folks on the podcast here is, I mean, I used to eat pizza every day, but now I get to eat all kinds of different pizza every day. I feel like
It's pretty cool.
It's so many different options available out there, and so many great people doing it in a different way. Like you think of pizza and you're like, all right, just pizza, but there's so many different varieties and so many different styles and cheeses and sauces and crusts. It's just so many different ways you can enjoy it. And there's so many good people doing it out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's always someone coming up with something new, which is really fun too.
I mean, Instagram's fun for that, right? You got to make sure your pizza is Instagrammable, because nowadays, like everybody, I think pizza is the #1 photographed food item on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, it's pizza and cheeseburgers. So, so you do a lot of Instagram. I see you got a good following on Instagram. What's your philosophy behind that? Is it just like really good quality photos, or what are you doing with that?
Most of my Instagram is food pics. I have a bunch of pictures with me and my son up on Instagram, but and a lot of pizza stuff now. But it's kind of just a look at whatever I'm working on in the restaurants, and then most of my free time I'm spending with my son, so those pics go up there as well. But
right.
It's really still more. I look at it more for friends and family than like advertising for the restaurants.
Right. You don't. So you look at your restaurant as a separate entity, because some people use their restaurant or their personal brand to kind of promote their restaurant. You let the restaurant stand on itself. I
definitely let the restaurants stand by themselves. I mean, I push. The restaurants are on my feed a lot because that's where I am. I'm spending a lot of my time in the kitchen or around food.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends and people who follow me are interested in food, so I'm putting those pictures up there.
Yeah, that's what gets the likes and shares now, right? Food pics, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
It's popular on there. People love to see what you're eating.
Yeah.
It's funny because it used to be, when Twitter first came out, it used to be like a joke. After a couple of years of Twitter being out, it used to be like, nobody cares what you're eating for lunch. Stop tweeting about it. And now it's like full circle back to that. Instagram is exactly what Twitter was in the beginning.
Well, and you can zero in on the people that are, you follow what you like, right? So if you're interested in food, then you're following a bunch of people that are posting food pics. And, that's what's kind of cool about Instagram is you kind of pick up a vibe on someone's feed, and then you can follow them and maybe learn more about the same interest or whatever they're doing in it.
Yeah, I think I liked one crazy pizza photo, and now I go to my feed and there's like a bazillion different kind of crazy pizza photos out there. It's crazy. I said in a post, Instagram is the only place that can make Pizza Hut pizza look good.
And you definitely can.
Yeah, so many different filters or angles. You can make a Pizza Hut pizza actually look good.
Yeah.
So what's coming for Sauce? I know you got a location now. Is there plans to open or expand any more new locations or new pizzerias or different styles? What's your goal?
The goal, so at the original Sauce restaurant, we had a pizza window, which was where where we started selling pizza. We're going to be shutting down the window, and the bakery that's behind us on that block went out of business. So we just redid our lease and included the bakery. So we're going to put another slice shop down there behind the original Sauce. which will go into that corner. And I think after that, we'll probably take a break and just focus on the pizzerias for a while and get everything as consistent as possible. Even launching this one, it took a little bit of time just to do the jumper. We needed a couple more pizza chefs than what we had, and the first few weeks it was like me and 2 other guys just on 7 days, making pizza and trying to make the whole thing work. So we're starting to get there where we have a bigger team, and hopefully we can manage those 2 stores pretty well, and then we can figure out what we're going to do next.
When you hire someone, do you hire someone that knows how to make pizza, or do you say, I just want a good person and I'll teach them how to make pizza?
So usually a pizza interview for me is making a pizza, and
Yep.
seeing where the person's at. I'm good with someone who doesn't have a lot of experience, but is really open to learning. I think with our pizza that goes well, just because if you made New York pizza, our dough is very different than a lot of the dough that people are using for New York style pizza. And if you made a different style pizza, then again, you're going to have to learn our technique to be able to do what we're doing. So I think finding someone and engaging how interested they are in listening to a new way to do what they know how to do is important. And then if they're open to that, we'll start training them and working with them and get them up to speed on what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's a trainable skill, right? Making a pizza, yes, it's a skill that you need to have, but you can train somebody as long as they're willing to learn.
Yeah, as long as they're willing to learn. I mean, the biggest challenge is people who've been making pizza for a long time.
Yeah.
And they're just not open to doing it a different way. So, you can stand next to this person and show them how you want to do it, but if they don't follow the technique, then the pizza is not going to look the same as the pizza we're trying to put out. So there has been a lot of frustration for that with me, where I meet somebody who's super talented. They can make awesome pizza, and then I start trying to teach them how to make my pizza, and it's like they just can't break old habits or think about a new way to do it. So
They're just stubborn, right?
Stubborn, or maybe or the way they did it worked. So they think that they want to do it that way. It's like, hey, I've been doing this for 10 years. This is how I do it. I'm not going to change. This is either faster or this is easier for me. But, that can be super frustrating.
Right. Awesome, Adam. I was awesome talking to you. I know you have a hard stop here in a couple minutes. So where can people go check you out online if they want to say hello, or if they want to visit Sauce in the future? If they're in New York City, where should they go to say hello?
You can go to saucerestaurant.com or saucepizzeria.com. And check us out, and also we're all over Instagram. So if you Google Sauce Pizza, you'll definitely find us if you're in New York. And the location is on 12th Street between 1st and 2nd, 345 East 12th Street.
In your Sauce Pizzeria NYC on Instagram. So if you want to go check them out on Instagram, is that Barstool Review on your Instagram profile?
I think it is. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'll have to go check that out, and I'll link it up in the show notes too. So if you're listening to this in the podcast and you're driving, you're at work or you're at the gym, head over to smartpizzamarketing.com. I'll link up all Adam's links in that review on our website over there. Adam, I appreciate you taking the time, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bruce. This was great. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching the SPM show. For more episodes, make sure that you subscribe, follow us on Facebook or on Instagram, and head over to smartpizzamarketing.com for all of our past podcast episodes and future episodes of the SPM show.